All right, so let's keep it moving and we will go on to everyone's favorite subject, testing, right? Everyone here loves testing, I would imagine. So we're gonna talk about that and how honestly Node.js is like the perfect tool for testing. It's so good with testing that I was trying to remember the last time I've written tests and like ran tests in a browser. That wasn't like an end-to-end test, but it's like a unit test. And I don't even remember. I know I did it at one point. I just don't remember when it was because that's how long ago it's been since I've been using Node to write tests. So yeah, like I said, one of the most common use cases for Node is writing tests for Node.js and front-end apps. So you can do kind of all of it. It's really versatile. Um, First, let's kind of talk about what unit tests. So if if you haven't written tests before, the different types of tests, let's talk about unit tests. So unit tests is basically, it will test like a little chunk of your code, a unit. It could be a little function, it could be some constant variable somewhere, it could be pretty much whatever you define as a unit, but it's basically testing it in isolation and not how it works with something else, right? So you won't be testing like how this system works together or how this API call, handles everything in the middleware stack all the way down to the response. That wouldn't be a unit test. That would be like an end-to-end test. You're testing everything from end to end and how they all relate to each other. You give it some output and you give it some input, and you run it through a bunch of stuff and you want to see what the output is and what will happen along the way. Whereas a unit test is like, I just want to see how this one thing works by itself without anything else interacting with it. So Node.js is really perfect for that. And I'm going to show you how we can do that. And just like the HTTP in the server section, I'm going to walk you through how to do this the manual way that's built into Node. Then I'm going to show you how you should actually do it. But by learning it this way, you'll see how it's all working. Because sometimes it can kind of feel like magic. So there's this really cool module built into Node called assert. And assert kind of sounds exactly like what it is. It's going to be used to do assertions against different truthy statements, right? We can assert that this statement must be true, and if it's not, it's going to throw an error. That's basically it. And most of the testing frameworks are built on top of the assert module. So we're going to use that to write some tests. So I'm going to make a new folder here. And I'm going to call it I'm going to just call it lib. So we got lib here. I'm going to make a new file and call it my lib.mjs. And then I'll make a new file and I'm gonna call this lib.spec.mjs. So let's do that. So for the lib, we can pretty much do anything. I'm just gonna we just need to write some code that we can test. So I'm just gonna say const add, it's gonna take some numbers, and it's going to return num1 times num2. Right, I know it's an add function and it multiplies. I get it, but we're gonna see how the test fails and then we can try to fix it. So we got that. In order for me to test this code, this unit, I have to export it. Otherwise, I can't import it. So I'm gonna export this. And now I can actually import this into some other file, which then I can use and test. So in my other file, which is gonna be the spec file, I'm gonna import that method from, not this file, but my lib.mjs. So one thing, I don't know if I mentioned this, but when you're importing MJS files, you do have to explicitly put the extension. If you don't put the extension, I don't think it'll work. Whereas .js files, you don't have to. And or if you went into the package.json and said, hey, I want to use ECMAScript modules, type module, then I don't think you have to do the extension. But we do. I'm being explicit. That way people don't get confused. I've seen so many people get confused with this, so I just learned to just be explicit about it. That way it works. Maybe one day when Node.js finally is like, all right, everything's just ECMAScript modules and we don't have to do this, then I'll figure it out. But for now, I'm just going to be explicit about it because you can't go wrong. There's no confusion. So we got the add, and then we need to import assert from assert because it's built in. And then we can assert to see if this add function does what it's supposed to do. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna console.log that we're running the add function, and I'm gonna say, we'll make a little break line here, and I'm going to say should add two numbers. So I'm going to just log that. And then I'm going to assert. Actually, I'm going to try catch this one. I'm going to try catch the assert that add that takes in 1 and 2 should equal 3, because 1 plus 2 equals 3. If that fails, I'm going to catch the error. And I'm going to console.log fail. That, and then I'm going to console.error the error. But if it passes, I'm going to say success. So here's our little test using the assert library. So let's give it a shot, see what happens. So I'm going to go over to our terminal. I'm going to back out of this, go to lib. I'm going to run node. What was it? lib.spec. Run that. And for some reason, it says success. Did I not do that right? How would that say success? Hold on. My lib add. Oh, wait. Why did that do that? Hold on. I think I might have used assert wrong. Let me get back to my notes. Dot strict equal. Okay, sorry. Okay, so let's go back into it and do dot strict equal. I'm not used to that change because I don't really use assert. It's too low level. But yeah, strict equal to see if those two things equal each other. And as you can see, we do get a fail here, assertion error. We say expected value to be strictly equal. 2 does not equal 3. And then you can see it logs out the assertion, which has the code, the actual, the expected, and then what operator we use to perform the comparison. It's pretty detailed.